Hello everyone, this is Farm from Tech Giving Villa. I hope you all are well. Today I'm going to talk about the Samsung Q60D TV. Samsung's latest entry-level QLED, the Samsung Q60D, which is a decent fit for folks who are just looking to lock down an affordable Samsung branded TV. However, given the bounty of similarly priced alternative that offers more in the way of performance and features. If you are new in my channel, then please subscribe and press the bell icon for future notifications and upcoming videos. I have another channel named Awesome Tech Gaming Pro, where I upload similar kind of tech videos like TV comparison, sound system, home theater, graphics card. You can check and subscribe. The Samsung Q60D is not an outright bad TV by any means. Its overall design is more aesthetically pleasing than most TVs in its class. The picture is well tuned right out of the box, and its built-in smart platform provides those without a dedicated streaming devices a way to access the best streaming services. But since its release, the cost of surprisingly scrappy mid-range have come down, becoming even more enticing option for those looking to stretch their dollar. Some of these competitive mid-ranges sets offer more gaming features, a brighter picture, and in many cases better software. If you're a Samsung enthusiast and you don't necessarily need your next budget-friendly TV to be as bright and as capable as possible, you will likely be happy with the Q60D. If you are looking for a better value, you might want to check competing TVs like the TCL QM7 or Hisense U7 instead. One of the Q60D's best qualities is its overall design. If you are shopping in the lower end of the TV market, you might have trouble finding a set whose physical appearance gestures towards the higher end of the design spectrum. With its sleek uniform panel, the Q60D is the opposite, evoking quality and newness. This has plenty to do with the Q60D's modest display hardware. There are no mini LEDs here, no complex array of dimming zones, just garden variety LED edge lighting. While that has unfortunate implications for picture quality, it allows for a slim 1-inch thick panel that avoids anything resembling bulk. It's a simple design whose setup is even simpler. At no point did I need to reach for a screwdriver when setting up the Q60D, as its pair of narrow L-shaped feet slid into the back of the panel and locked into place. Conveniently, there are two configurations with which you can attach these feet. One option keeps the panel low to the surface it sits on, while the other raises the panel by about 3 inches. The latter is sure to be appreciated by those who plan on placing a soundbar in front of the Q60D that would otherwise obstruct their view. Every Q60D arrives with a Samsung solar cell remote control, a slender little number whose internal battery charges itself via indoor or outdoor light. There's also a USB-C port here. Should you need an emergency charge, I very much appreciate the utility of this design, but I would characterize the rest of the remote's design as being minimal to a fault. There's no dedicated input button, for instance, so swapping from one device to another requires a detour through some on-screen menus. All of the Q60D's connectivity options are arranged in and around a rectangular cutout on the back of its panel. Here's what's available: 3 HDMI 2.0 inputs, an Ethernet port, an optical digital audio output, an ATSC 1.0 tuner, and a pair of USB 2.0 ports. It's worth nothing that many of the Samsung Q60D's closest entry-level competitors offer 4 HDMI ports, including the Sony Bravia 3 and the Hisense U6N. In addition, some of last year's mid-range TVs whose prices have steadily fallen closer to the Q60Ds are equipped with HDMI 2.1 inputs. However, if all you plan on doing with the Q60D is hooking up a soundbar, a single console, and streaming device, you might not miss this feature. The next aspect of the Q60D's overall performance is that it's accurate right out of the box, provided you opt for one of its fine-tuned picture modes like filmmaker or movie. These modes adhere more closely to reference standards used by content creators, and the Q60D looks its best when they are in use. Q60D's color accuracy in filmmaker mode is superb. The delta E of around 2.5 in this picture preset. This measurement determines perceptible color error with a lower number being better. Since a delta E of 3 is often considered to be the threshold of perceptible color error for the human eye, the Q60D is keeping its colors in check. In addition, the Q60D covers about 90% of the USGA P3 HDR color gamut and about 70% of the Recon 2020 gamut. Solid numbers for a TV in this price range, but color accuracy is only one piece of the performance puzzle, and unfortunately the Q60D is limited in some key ways. The most critical piece of this puzzle is contrast. The range between absolute black and peak brightness, which is something the Q60D struggles with compared to certain similarly priced TVs. Its peak highlight brightness is limited to around 470 nits even in HDR. Now that's right around what I measured on the SUBSCRIBE 3 for that review. But both of these TVs are currently only $30 to $50 cheaper than the Hisense U7N, whose peak highlight brightness is over double that of the Samsung and Sony sets. The mid-range ECL QM7 is even brighter. Aside from sheer brightness, these mid-range competitors, the U7N and the QM7, make use of mini LED backlighting, which is a sizable setup from the Samsung Q60D's HD LEDs. These are smaller backlights clustered into zones that can brighten and dim with more variability than what the Q60D is capable of, giving its lack of local dimming. Its limitations were evident while I watched darker sequences in The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, and Predator with low dynamic range and rudimentary edge lighting. These darker scenes appear gray, flat, and hazy. Neither the Q60D or the Sony Bravia 3 is truly cut out from impactful HDR, but I prefer the Bravia 3's performance profile on account of its superior upscaling, its aforementioned motion handling, and its overall presentation. However, from a price standpoint, both of these entry-level options are bumping up against the sale prices of the TVs with more advanced hardware, better picture quality, especially in HDR, and longer lists of features. The Sony Bravia 3 also comes with Dolby Vision, which the Q60D unsurprisingly does not. Like most entry-level and mid-range TVs, the sound quality of the Q60D's internal 20-watt speaker system is nothing to write home about. Like its display's limitations, this is an issue that is more apparent during cinematic content and less so during sports broadcasts and typical capable programming. There is a distinct lack of bass and some detectable distortion. If you can spare one of the Q60D's 3 HDMI inputs, I recommend pairing it with one of the best soundbars for a TV like this. So for gaming, there's not much to say about Q60D's gaming functionality, as it's lacking many of the features dedicated gamers care about. Due to its lack of HDMI 2.1 support and its limited refresh rate, the Q60D is capped at 60 Hz for 4K titles. Variable refresh rate isn't here, nor FreeSync or G-Sync compatibility. It does, however, deliver an input lag of around 9.5 milliseconds, which means games will feel snappy and responsive at the very least. You are also getting access to Samsung Gaming Hub, a suite of cloud gaming services which opens up the door to console free gaming for those inclined to subscribe. For its class, the Q60D's lack of gaming features is not that surprising. Once again, I've got to mention the supremely discounted TVs that sit in a class above the Q60D. TVs like the Hisense U7N and TCL QM7 offer far better gaming support, and their prices have fallen through the floor and into the Q60D's domain. The Q60D comes with Samsung's Tizen-based smart platform built right in, but unfortunately the issues I've run into with this software on higher-end Samsung TVs are exacerbated by the Q60D's comparatively limited processing power. Despite how easy it is to slot in the TV's feet and stand it up on parents, the setup process is rather long, and you will be asked to create a Samsung account. Once you land on the Samsung Hub home screen, you will be greeted with a frustrating amount of sponsored and recommended content. So unless disabled, the Samsung TV Plus app is always launching itself automatically, and in general, there is a feeling that Tizen is constantly pulling you in the opposite direction you are trying to go, whether you are hunting for inputs or trying to locate a downloadable app. This is to say nothing of the lack the hiccups and the general sluggishness of Smart Hub on a Q60D, I recommend sticking a Roku or Apple TV into this TV and never looking back. But you will always be dipping your toes into Smart Hub if only to switch inputs. You will also be losing one of the TV's 3 HDMI inputs if you plan on using your streaming devices as a daily driver. So not too long ago, comparing an entry-level TV like the Samsung Q60D to a pricier, higher-end model would be somewhat disingenuous. After all, the Q60D isn't trying to outpace TVs with better hardware and features like the TCL Q7N or Hisense U7N. However, I will say it would be silly for me not to mention that those models offer more for a modest bumping cost. Both the Q7N and Hisense U7N deliver a brighter overall picture and showcase HD content more effectively. They support 4K gaming and 120Hz. Their built-in Google TV software is better than the Samsung Q60Ds, and the inclusion of mini LED backlighting is a benefit that cannot be overstated. When comparing the Q60D to a TV within its class, the calculus isn't as straightforward. Like the Sony Bravia 3, the Q60D is a perfectly fine option for folks who don't really care about things like impactful HDR. If you just want to set up a new cheapish 4K TV and immediately stop thinking about it, both of these TVs will get the job done. Between the two, however, my preference lies with the Bravia 3. Its software is better suited for my needs. It supports Dolby Vision and it comes with 4, not just 3 HDMI ports. Considering going with the Samsung Q60D, if you dig its ultra slim design, don't mind about missing out on Dolby Vision. Or if you are looking for a 32 or 70-inch model, specifically if you just got to have a Samsung branded TV and you are not looking to spend that much, the Q60D is here for you too. So what's your thought about this new Samsung Q60D TV? Please write in the comments below. That's it from now.